Welcome back to TLDR's daily briefing for Tuesday the 27th of May 2025. In today's episode, we cover the Trump-Putin Fallout, charges over a 2023 migrant shipwreck in Greece, and the Liverpool football parade attack. But first, the German Chancellor criticises Israel's actions in Gaza. In a sharp turn of rhetoric, Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz has said that Israel's actions in Gaza can no longer be justified as fighting terrorism. Speaking at an event hosted by the German broadcaster WDR, Merz said, "To harm the civilian population in such a way as has increasingly been the case in recent days can no longer be justified by a fight against Hamas terrorism." He also added that he could, frankly, no longer understand the goal of what the Israeli army is doing in the Gaza Strip, and said he planned to hold a call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this week to tell him not to overdo it. Merz's remarks are the strongest criticism of the Israeli government by a German chancellor since the start of its war with Hamas. They also reflect a personal change of tone for Merz, who condemned Germany's former Social Democrat-led government for pausing weapons deliveries to Israel. It comes amid rising international criticism of the Netanyahu government's current military operation in Gaza. Last week, France, the UK and Canada published a joint statement calling Israel's actions egregious and warning of concrete actions against Israel if it does not halt its military offensive and immediately lift restrictions on humanitarian aid. While Hamas welcomed the joint statement, Netanyahu accused her of offering a huge prize to Hamas in the war. For context, 2 weekends ago, Israel began a new military operation, dubbed Operation Gideon's Chariots, which consists of a ground invasion of both northern and southern Gaza, backed by the Israeli Air Force, which has killed hundreds of civilians. Israel had also maintained a blockade on humanitarian aid entering the Gaza Strip for 11 weeks, leading to concerns about mass starvation. Earlier this month, Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich also fueled concerns that the operation was aimed at ethnically cleansing Gaza, saying, "We are conquering, cleansing, and remaining in Gaza until Hamas is destroyed," and claiming that Palestinians will, quote, "leave in great numbers to third countries." But while Merz's comments may show a clear shift in tone, whether they also signal a change in policy is yet unclear. Germany's Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul described Germany's dilemma on Sunday, saying, "On the one hand, we stand by the state of Israel. We have responsibility for it. And on the other, we naturally stand by the fundamental value of humanity and naturally see the suffering of these people." You're listening to TLDR's daily briefing. If you want more explainers on what's happening in the world, then you should check out TLDR's other channels. Over the weekend, we released videos on falling oil prices, whether Europe is quietly returning to nuclear power, and the Scottish National Party's unlikely comeback. You can find these videos linked in the description or show notes for this episode, or by searching for TLDR on YouTube or Nebula. A public spat has taken place between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, following the Kremlin's biggest drone attack on Ukraine yet. The attack happened hours after Russia and Ukraine began a prisoner exchange of hundreds of soldiers and civilians, the first phase of a deal agreed in Istanbul this week. The agreement was viewed as a first step towards a permanent ceasefire between the two countries. However, Russia's escalating bombing campaign has further dashed hopes for a breakthrough in efforts to end the 3-year war. Writing on Truth Social on Sunday night, Trump, who has been struggling to get Putin to the negotiating table, lashed out at the Russian president, saying he had gone, quote, crazy by stepping up attacks on Ukraine. Issuing some of his sharpest criticisms of Putin yet, Trump added that if the Russian leader tried to conquer all of Ukraine, it would, quote, lead to the downfall of Russia, and warned of further sanctions. Putin's spokesperson has dismissed Trump's comments and said they were connected to an emotional overload of everyone involved. Meanwhile, in another development, in response to Russia's weekend attacks, Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz has said that Ukraine's allies had removed all range limits on supplied arms, following reports that Merz will give Taurus missiles to Kyiv. Over to Greece now, where at least 17 members of Greece's Hellenic Coastguard have been charged over the 2023 Pylos shipwreck, one of the Mediterranean's deadliest migrant disasters in the past decade. The Adriana, which departed Libya and was bound for Italy, was carrying around 700 migrants when it sank. At least 82 bodies were recovered following the disaster, although up to 650 people, including many women and children trapped below deck, were feared dead. Only 104 passengers survived. Out of these survivors, a handful alleged that the Greek Coastguard's attempt to tow the vessel caused it to capsize. They also later alleged that authorities tried to silence witnesses, which Greek authorities have repeatedly denied. Finally, over to the UK, where Merseyside police have said that a 53-year-old man has been arrested after a car collided with crowds at Liverpool Football Club's Premier League victory parade, but they are not treating the incident as terrorism. Yesterday, emergency services attended a chaotic scene in Liverpool city centre after a car hit a crowd of supporters at around 6 p.m. At least 47 people have been injured in the incident, including 27 who required hospital treatment. 2 people sustained serious injuries, including 1 child. That's all for today, and we'll be back with you tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen. In the meantime, if you want to keep up on all the TLDR content we've released across our channels, then subscribe to our new weekly newsletter, published every Friday. You can do so by clicking the link in the description. This was a TLDR news production hosted by Georgina Findlay, written by Nadja Lovadinov and Georgina Findlay, and produced by Scarlett Watchorn. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again tomorrow.